Welcome to the Power Forward Pod, hosted by the Power Forward Group Financial Advisory Team, where we believe that 2 is better than 1, dialogues are better than monologues, change is the only constant, and thoughts are meant to be challenged. If you want to learn more about the Power Forward Group, you can visit our website at www.powerforwardgroup.com. Welcome, everybody. I'm myself, Chris DeVito, one of the advisors here at PFG, joined today by fellow advisor, Chomali, and our special guest here, Shai Mehani. Good to see you guys. How's everybody's doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize. I didn't check my email this morning on the white shirts. I was gonna. I'm not a big white shirt guy. I'll get very messy as an Italian. You know.
We're related, obviously, right? I'm a proud uncle, so we have that in common.
Which side? Mother, father side?
My sister.
Very cool. Older or younger sister?
Older
sister. Very cool. So we were talking a little bit before we jumped on here, Shai. So I want to hear your rendition of how do you remember we met originally?
We met a long time ago, maybe 10 years at this point, maybe more. I remember I got a message. So I run In-House Connect, and I'll talk about that more in a bit. But at the time, it was a meetup group. Right, meetup.com, meetup group for in-house counsel. And I remember we got a message from Reuven, and I remember engaging with Reuven. And I think you had connected with me on LinkedIn, and I think I just didn't act on your connection request, right?
So my rendition of it was maybe didn't. So it definitely wasn't 10 years that I had spoken to you. I was... I don't know, it had to be like 2018, 2019 maybe, where I was like kind of sending out like, feelers on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I get a pop-up, you get a reply from Shai Mehani. So I go to look, and it was just like yeah, man, would love to connect from you. And I look, and like the message I had sent you was from about a year and a half earlier than that. So you must have just checked those messages to see. But we got moving pretty quickly from that. And I think we did our first event probably within a couple months, and a couple few after that. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right? And then, everything kind of went up in the air and stuff like that. I do think, though, that COVID was definitely very good for our end of the business, for Charlie and myself. You seem to have kind of transitioned that negative into a big positive, too, for your group.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I like to say that In-House Connect is a free educational and networking platform for in-house counsel, in-house legal teams, essentially. But pre-COVID, we were really limited to being a in-person networking group for in-house counsel. Our audience, our member base was much smaller, and the scope of events, the frequency of events that we did was much smaller. And basically every month we would meet at a different law firm for free CLE and then a cocktail networking reception. Mm-hmm. And we did, I think we did 1 or 2 with Power Forward, which was super well received and a lot of fun. And everything was going great. We would get, 40, 50 people every month for networking, learning, and so on. And it was great. I was working full time as an in-house lawyer. And I did this primarily to, advance my career. It's good for career building and networking. So at some point, I said to my co-founder at the time, I said, look, Meetup is great, but Meetup is great for bird watchers, but not for in-house lawyers. So why don't we, rebrand? Let's go on to LinkedIn and let's try and get more people to join the group. So we did that. We rebranded as In-House Connect, and I think we had done the infamous basement party together at that point. No, actually, I'm sorry. We had done a great rooftop party.
That was the first one.
It was the first one. That was
cool.
like the launch. That was like the grand launch of In-House Connect at the time, and that was excellent. That worked out exactly how it should have. And then shortly thereafter, COVID hit. And again, the script was we would meet once a month, free CLE, cocktail networking reception, everything was great. But when COVID hit, we couldn't meet in person anymore. Yep. So I saw an opportunity with Zoom going, mainstream and the adoption just skyrocketed overnight. I had this thought, it makes me smile, this thought, but I thought to myself, what if we took the concept that we were, of our in-person events, put them online, And what if they were so good, like so interesting, like must-see TV for in-house legal teams? What if it was the Super Bowl, right, of in-house CLEs, and people were just compelled to join and tune in and watch? That made me smile, and I saw that as like, as a vision. Like, that's my goal, to create content that was so good it couldn't be ignored, it couldn't be, that everybody had to tune in. And that's kind of what underpinned everything that happened afterwards. And I thought to myself, well, if we can get to the point where we have a big enough audience tuning into these programs, then I can turn that into a business. Then opportunities for advertising, for sponsorships, then we can go from there. And that's essentially what happened. I took the concept of the in-person events, put them online, started to do webinars. They got, really great attendance from all over the country. We had many more people tuning in than we ever did in person. And I just continued to invest in that, in digital marketing and a website and in LinkedIn, and to just get the word out and grow our audience.
How far into COVID did you make that did that click for you? Was it like March 2020? You were like on Zoom doing it, or did it take a little while?
It took a little while. I got married in June 2020, okay. And so life was taken over, and it was a little bit of a hectic time for everybody. But the concept, like, I did some proof of concept webinars after I got married. I remember I was in my apartment. I actually remember, to my wife's credit, on our honeymoon, I was like doing work, trying to do emails and stuff, and so on. So, I could think like. And
you're still married after.
Still married. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. So shortly thereafter, it wasn't like immediately, but like 6 months, I would say, until I started to play around with the concept.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give credit to Reuven, our good friend. He was way ahead of the Zoom thing. I remember sitting in his office and saying that we're going to go Zoom, we're going to go virtual, and I was like, yeah, it's just going to be 2 weeks, right? And here we are. 10 years later, it feels like, at this point. So that's pretty cool. So that was a big transition. So what is the makeup of the group now? Like, is it really all in-house attorneys that are in? Do you find like people coming in from other areas that want to be a part of it?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. In-House Connect is not a typical membership group. You don't have to pay to access our content. It's free and it's open. I direct my content towards in-house lawyers, in-house legal professionals, because the scope of responsibility has broadened over time, and the legal ops community is very, very strong in in-house legal departments. So we include content for them. But generally, I would say it's 95% in-house counsel. There's certainly. We have, maybe it's like 92% in-house counsel, and we have, a handful of, big law attorneys, and maybe some recruiters, maybe some vendors who tune into our events. I know there are a lot of, people in private practice who are eager to come over to work in-house and are looking for networking opportunities and just to get the flavor of what it's like to be in-house.
Yeah, for sure. So our practice is definitely heavier on the big law attorney side of things. And Charlie will tell you, we have a conversation with them all the time. A lot of clients are thinking about going in-house, thinking about doing things like that. Charlie, I mean, what have been some of the things that you've seen, or what are some things that we do proactively as Power Forward Group, kind of talking to clients that are thinking about that transition and kind of thinking about that longer term for themselves?
Yeah, I think we always preface it when we talk to clients is that we're very familiar with the life cycle of big law attorneys, which is typically where we start out with people. Maybe you like big law for 3-4 years, but then you want to move in-house, you want to move government. So a lot of concerns that people will have is, what if I set up accounts or I start out a strategy, but then I take a 30-40% pay cut to go in-house, right? So that's why a lot of the numbers that we use and when going through our process are percentages as opposed to hard numbers, right? We want to have flexibility in everything that we build out, and we want to let people know, right? We're not strictly working with big law attorneys. We're working with in-house. We're very familiar with the life cycle. We have plenty of clients who have done the same thing, and it's very common, and I guess they like to hear about the experiences from other attorneys who have done the same thing. But I guess, Shai, from the in-house side, what are some insights that you've gotten from some of the people in the In-House Connect group? I guess, what are some things that people like to know before they make a leap like that or a career change?
Yeah, so it makes a ton of sense that, big law attorneys, all private practice attorneys should, have a good sense of the financial differences working in-house, right? You're not going to those big salaries aren't always going to be there, especially if you're lateraling kind of at a mid-level career. Generally, it's a significant pay cut, so it makes sense to align with a financial advisor. I guess what I've actually seen a lot of people go right from traditional from private practice to in-house. I'm seeing a lot of people go from in-house to private practice. There's a lot of openings and opportunities at big law firms, and when you're in-house, you do great work, but your salary stays the same. It's very tempting to look across and see what else is out there, and the salaries in big law are definitely higher than what you see in in-house counsel.
The big law, big money, right?
Yes.
In terms of that. What do you think is causing that transition, though? Because we normally see the reverse, right? People go big law to in-house because of that quality of life. What do you think is causing the opposite to happen?
I think, I think a couple of things. A lot of in-house lawyers, maybe they didn't get the chance to work they didn't get the chance to work in big law, and if they get it after the fact, it's a very tempting thing, to kind of have that experience. I didn't work in big law. I started off in matrimonial law and got very lucky and networked my way in-house. So, there was a period where I was super interested in working in private practice. So I totally get the appeal. And then, a lot of in-house counsel, you think it's a better lifestyle and you realize that it's not. You have, that
seems to have been more common than it used to be.
Legal teams are shrinking, responsibilities are skyrocketing, and it's just harder to manage. And there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of, a lot of stress in many in-house legal departments. So they figure, hey, if I'm not gonna, I might as well get the stress, but the big paycheck that goes along with it.
Yeah, and if history repeats itself, big law's been throwing out bonuses and money like it's been going out of style. I think when I first started working with attorneys, I think the base salary for a first-year associate was like $160, something like that. And it might be, I don't even know what it is today, maybe $220, $225. And that's a big number, right? For
no joke.
Coming to that,
it'll take, I don't know, 7-8 years for an in-house lawyer to build up to that level. And then not just salary, not bonus.
Right.
Bonus can be even more. So, it makes sense why there's a lot of back and forth.
Are many of your members big law survivors?
Oh, tons. Yeah. Tons. I would say, it's interesting. A lot of law students have the opportunity to go right in-house. And I tell them, don't do it. Go to big law. Like, the experience you get as a big law attorney is, unparalleled. And the pedigree that you get when you exit big law, it just stays with you. And there's studies have shown that lawyers who have the big law background and then go in-house have like a 10 or 20% increase in salary throughout their careers. So it's just, the experience is unparalleled. I know it's the work-life balance isn't always great, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been the case for people that we've spoken to. And it's a big transition to make too, whether you're going from one to the other. You made a big transition too. Like when did you quit your day job and go full time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So COVID I think was 2022 or so, and I at that point, like towards the end of the year, I was doing a lot of proof of concepts with In-House Connect, and I saw that it was a viable thing. So so 2023 was my like make or break year. Like, is this a viable thing? Like, I was going to start to do webinars consistently. Like that was my goal. So by the end of 2023, I felt like I had a real, like, I felt like I had a really strong company and like a strong opportunity. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, like this is a thriving business. I gotta, I'm gonna conquer the world, whatever. But I was like really impressed by the response I got, like both from the audience and from the sponsors. When I guess the following year, like when January rolled around, and it just got more and more, I started to think really hard about, is the time to transition to is this not a side hustle anymore? Like this could be my main thing.
Right.
So So like basically so I think I got my years mixed up. So around 2023, the beginning of 2023, I really started to think about it hard. And I had some friends, Ariel, who I did a podcast with before. He was like, "When are you going to quit already? When are you going to quit already?" And so I went, so a couple of things. I had, sponsors who were loving the relationship with In-House Connect, and I felt super confident that they would be there supporting us moving forward. Like I just had a lot of confidence in my business. The second thing was I went to a conference, and at the conference I was there to promote In-House Connect. And I was Shai from In-House Connect. And I walked around, I introduced myself. I was looking for more sponsors. Legal tech is a huge component of In-House Connect, and this was a legal tech conference. So when I came home from the conference, it was in New York. I scootered back and forth, very easy. I came home, I opened my laptop, and I had to be Shai from, Shai the in-house lawyer. And I just felt like I was fundamentally different. Like I was looking all these people in the eye. Hey, I'm Shai from In-House Connect. And now I'm like Shai, the in-house lawyer, data privacy, contracts attorney. And I felt a fundamental difference at that point. So right then and there, I teamed my boss, and I'm like, hey, listen, he knew about In-House Connect. I don't think he appreciated how much time and effort I was putting into it necessarily. I always got my work done. It was never an issue. But I'm like, look, I want to focus on In-House Connect. I want you guys to have somebody who's fully devoted to, this organization and this position. I wasn't like telling like, hey, I'm out in 2 weeks, because that's not fair to them. And I was not in a rush necessarily. And I wanted to end off on a good note. So I said, look, take your time, find a replacement. And when the time comes, I'll go. So ultimately August was that day, or that time. And that's when I left for good. So in I don't know, a couple of weeks, will be my 1 year entrepreneurship anniversary.
So that's congratulations. So you kind of gave him the old, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah. It's hard. Honestly, that was like the hardest thing to your boss has no clue that you're looking to make a move. It's out of the cloud, everything, he has no clue what's going on. And so I wanted to be sensitive to that. And it was hard. It was really scary, honestly, to be like, hey, I'm about to drop a bomb on you that you're not expecting. So that was the hardest thing.
But I'm sure now it seems like you're more comfortable in your position now than you were kind of being one foot in the door, 1 foot out, right? In terms of that. And a lot of times when Charlie and I are sitting down talking to clients and they're kind of thinking about these things, it almost becomes easier in doing what we do with clients when they get to that stage, right? Whether they stay in big law and they go partner, or they go and make that in-house move, because a lot of those thoughts and I think a lot of the anxiety is like, oh, what am I going to do in 5 years, 4 years, stuff like that. Charlie, when we're kind of talking to these like younger clients and stuff like that, do you find that to be the case where, once they make that move into an in-house role, or, there's something that they're more comfortable doing, that just winds up being better for them financially as well, even if it's a pay cut?
Yeah, I think they think that there's going to be a lifestyle benefit to it, right? A lot of people, when you first talk to them and they broach the subject, they're sort of hiding it, right? They're like, don't tell anybody, but I may be interviewing in-house, right? So when they finally make that leap, like as Shai touched on, they can finally feel like their self, or they finally feel more comfortable in what they're doing. So I think that when they finally transition, when they start out initially, they feel like big law is the only path, right? They go to law school, they're told the entire time, if you want to make big dollars as a lawyer, that's what you're going to do. That's the path. You're going to stick with it for 10 years and then make partner, and then you'll be making close 7 figures or something of that nature. But then people get into it, they realize the work-life balance, and they decide to make a sacrifice in the sense of that's where we want to, in-house may be the better route long-term, just for mental health and for just overall lifestyle there.
Yeah, you can make more cocktail parties when you're working in-house. We do events all the time for clients, and it is always a little bit more difficult to get big law attorneys to get them some time to enjoy themselves, because they're very, very busy in terms of that. So when is the next In-House Connect in-person event in New York City?
So actually tonight.
Is it tonight?
We threw together something really fast. It wasn't, like literally last week I emailed people. It's amazing when, you have an audience, you can kind of assemble them really fast. So it's tonight. It's a happy hour mixer. And really excited. The next one we're doing, this one we planned like a normal, but that's going to be in Century City, Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
First time out of New York City that we're doing an event, and I hope to do a lot more networking mixers all across the country. A lot of people now that I meet more and more In-House Connect people, they're like, "Oh, I watch you every day," or "I watch you."
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, please, I don't want this to go to my head, but it's just nice to bring people together across the country, and for me to meet all these wonderful people who tune in like regularly to our webinars. I've done 60 webinars this year, 60 webinars. Last year we did 80 something odd webinars. So it's a lot of webinars. I have one every day this week. I think one every day next week. People, you develop connections even though they're virtual, and that's a huge component of In-House Connect. And I'm thrilled to be meeting people, hopefully be meeting more people across the country.
Cool.
I guess that touches on something, right? Being able to throw together an event last minute, going from only New York events to having something in Los Angeles, you've earned this title of sort of a master networker. I guess what tips would you have for people in building a community and I guess continually providing value, and how you got so good at networking over time?
Yeah. So I mean, look, a couple of things. I think you have to have, maybe there's like three things. One is, you have to be extra patient with your efforts. I've been at this for a long, long time. I've been, participating in networking initiatives for in-house lawyers, like for this group, probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, like years before this was ever a thing. Before I did, one webinar, I was doing this for years and years, and I never got any, monetary gain. I just did it because I wanted to. So, you have to have a really long time horizon. The second thing is be warm and friendly. One of the things I made sure to do pre-COVID, post-COVID, was I felt like I was the host of these events. And if somebody new, like we always had some regulars, but if somebody new came or if somebody was alone, I would always go and talk to them and make sure that they felt included. You have to bring that warmth. Like, people are taking a risk coming alone to a networking event. Reward them, show them that you're happy that they're here. Give them some warmth, and it'll come back to you tenfold. And I think that's a humongous key to our success. And honestly, I took that warmth and I put it online. Like, our webinars are incredibly engaging. I can't say that they're warm always, right? Because some of the subject is dry, but I certainly, welcome everybody who joins. I encourage them to network. I encourage them to engage and interact and to, participate in the session. So, patience and warmth, I think, is the whole thing. And then, have some sort of end goal as the third thing. Like, there's got to be a reason why you're bringing people together. If you want to better their lives, how do you want to better their lives, and why do you want to better their lives? Like, there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different networking opportunities out there. What makes yours different, and what makes yours special? And you take those three things: patience, warmth, and a unique value proposition. You're going to be a master networker and well on your way to eclipsing In-House Connect's 50,000 subscriber base.
Very cool. Very cool. A lot of times when we talk to clients, about goals and stuff like that, it's hard for people to have goals, right? It's just nobody's thinking about it. They're living their day-to-day life. So we'll ask them sometimes, like, if you didn't have to work, you just, if you had the day off, like, how are you spending your time? Sounds like you'd be spending it doing In-House Connect stuff too. So you kind of did the reverse of it. You're kind of doing it for free and then turning it into something that's making money, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling Ruben before that I never imagined that this would ever be a thing. So got very lucky, and that's how it should be. Do it for free, and then eventually your passion will come out. Other opportunities will be there, and who knows? Who knows what happens?
Cool. And then do you have any partners now within it? It's just you. You had a partner a while ago, I think. Remember, right? You bought out or something.
Yeah, I had a partner, a wonderful man, Brian Greenberg. He, when COVID hit, I think it was a tough time for everybody, and I wanted to, run with In-House Connect, and he wanted to, he wanted to focus on family and work, and I think that was made a lot of sense, frankly. Sure. And so that's when we went our separate ways. But I wouldn't be here without him. So I keep my title as co-founder. It's been like years since we've stopped working together, but it's important to remember where we started.
Yeah.
There's two things I want to talk about, by the way.
Tell me.
Yeah. So one is how big law attorneys can go in-house.
Tell us. Yes,
all right. That's one thing, but hold on. I have one other thing. Business development advice for big law attorneys. But
let's hear it, because that's one piece. Like we work with attorneys all across, from partners to associates and stuff like that, and that's where I do think one area that is lacking in big laws. There's not a lot of business development for the younger attorneys.
I work with tons of lawyers. So the webinars. So again, we serve, like I said, we serve two different masters, right? The in-house lawyers, the in-house legal departments, and the sponsors. And sponsors, I would say, we have two general categories. One is legal tech companies, right? These are companies selling legal tech to in-house legal departments, right? Put that on the side. The other is law firms, right? Law firm partners, associates who want to build their brand and raise awareness and get new matters and get new clients. And I talk to these people all day long. And so I've gotten a lot of, insights into what works and what doesn't. So that's why I'm like, I want to talk about this, because I think it would be super valuable for your audience. The first thing I would say, just generally talking like business development, and this is also is a tremendously important for going in-house. First thing is focus on your industry expertise. And I'll talk about like why that's important for going in-house. If you have industry expertise, that will set you apart from every other candidate. Let's say it's a GC position, right? And let's say it's a media company or an oil and gas company. If you, as an attorney, have worked on oil and gas contracts, M&A in oil and gas, or if one of your main clients is a media company, that you have valuable key industry insights that other applicants are not going to have. Other candidates are just not going to have. You might the other candidates could have a wide range of legal expertise, which is great, HR and contracts and regulatory, but your industry expertise will set you apart significantly. So if you're looking to go in-house, focus on the industry expertise that you have, because it's vitally important. And frankly, 99% of the people of the big law associates I've spoken to or want to go in-house have not even scratched the surface of their industry expertise. From a BD perspective, the in-house lawyers on the other side of that are eager to hear your insights from an industry perspective, right? They only they only work at their organization, right? They're like a media company or a telecom company, right? They, everybody's dealing with different privacy regulations. Well, you get to, what every other company out there is doing because of your position as a trusted advisor. So you bring those insights to in-house counsel. That's super, super, super valuable. So again,
have you guys toyed with the idea of doing workshops running that way, where it's a big law attorney kind of coming in and talking about the industry for that subgroup of in-house?
I operate I operate at the intersection of supply and demand. In terms of, because In-House Connect, because we're a free organization for the audience, we're a sponsored opportunity. Right. So firms pay to do webinars, to do networking events with us. Some firms are okay and they get it, and some firms are like, oh, I have to pay, I'm out. That's the end of the conversation. So I would love to do more, and I know that as we increase in popularity and notoriety, I'm going to have more opportunities to host these types of events. But for now, it's really the types of content we do is CLE in nature, right? Continuing legal education credit in nature. And it's it's not necessarily super industry specific, but it's more subject matter type thing. It could be navigating AI regulations, right, in the EU and US, right? That's not industry specific, but a lot of in-house lawyers are interested in it. It could be navigating joint IP agreements. That's again kind of industry agnostic, but it's at the topic level. Those work super great too. But I hope to soon do some more industry stuff.
Yeah, I think there'd be a big audience for that too on the big law side of both for associates, partners, everybody that maybe want to go in house, but even others that are looking to talk to people that they could be their potential clients, right? They could be a potential book of business for a lot of these big law firms. I mean, how many associates and attorneys do we talk to on a daily basis where they're on that partner track, but they just don't know, like they're not taught on the back end of how to develop business, how to do that sort of thing.
80%, 85%.
That's it. It's especially at these bigger law firms, it's kind of like, you go work for a partner and then hopefully they retire, you take over the book. That's it. There's very little, it's few and far between the firms that do that business development side of things.
Yeah. It's all the associates are on an island, or it feels like they're on an island, and they don't really know how to advance and how to actually do this stuff. I have more thoughts on what they should be doing. Develop an email list. Like, email is the most important thing. That's how we get traction on our webinars. It's all emails. I send out a lot of emails. If you sign up for In-House Connect, and I hope you do, whoever you are, be warned. We send out a lot of emails. Don't hate me. It's just bits. Don't worry. But emails are so important. Make a database. Make a list of all the clients that you've worked with. Check in with them. Follow up. That type of thing. That's a super important thing to start, and to start early. Because then if you go to another company, whatever happens in life, you still have that list. It's super valuable. That's the second piece of advice I would give.
All right, so give me you got that one. Give me your top 5 things that you think big law associates should be doing to think about business development.
Oh man. So write blogs, write articles, speak, volunteer at different organizations. I mean, there's so many things.
Get some visibility.
Get some visibility. Yeah. Exactly. Get comfortable on a webinar, on a podcast, on a whatever it is. Pick a niche, pick a industry, and write about it. Write about it. There's so much that could be said. That's not in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is super powerful. I am on LinkedIn all the time. That's my social media playground. Write on LinkedIn, post, there's so many, if you're into data privacy, there's a lot of action, a lot of traction on in that regard. Post on LinkedIn. Build a brand, engage with other thought leaders. If you're serious about business development, there is no shortage of opportunity right then and there. I know some associates have marketing dollars. Some have that support, some don't. You can find free opportunities to speak. There are ways. Don't go easy on yourself in that regard. It's like watering a plant. If you don't water the plant, it's not going to grow. This is business development, in my opinion, is exactly like that. Every day you got to water the plant. Yeah,
I always love the line of it's one big in our industry is just get 1% better every day, right? And you compound that over a long time. So where do we find you? Where do in-house attorneys, where do associates find you?
InhouseConnect.org. We're at .org. So InhouseConnect.org. You can also find us on LinkedIn. Just type in In-House Connect. You can follow me, Shai Mehani, right? SHAI Mehani. You can find me easily. One other thing. One last thing. Sorry, I know we're going over time.
No, we're good.
This goes out to all the big law attorneys who want to go in house and think that they can just copy and paste their big law resume and send it out to the position for whatever it is, the in-house position. That will not work. Your resume as a law firm attorney will get you into another law firm. It will not get you in-house, or at least, and if it does, it's I don't know, probably a few notches below a miracle. You need to reformat it. You need to, you have to put it into, you have to translate it into an in-house resume. And a lot of times I see big law attorneys, they send me their resume and it has notable matters on it. And nobody, the person who's receiving your resume for an in-house position, odds are they're not an attorney. They're usually a recruiter, and they're not going to know what any of your notable matter. They're not going to appreciate why they're notable or what you did or how you did it or any of that stuff. So,
that's interesting.
Like fundamentally, you have to rethink your resume. I have more to say on that, but I will, I will just put that out.
That's
there.
for the second podcast.
That's for the second podcast. Yeah.
That's interesting. It seems like a broken system in a way.
It's hard. It's also like these associates are, and who knows, partners are in a tough spot because if you want to switch jobs, the firm should support you in that because it's good for them, it's good for you. But if you tell them you're switching jobs, they're gonna, it's not gonna be good for your career either. So they're in a tough spot. Happy to talk to anybody who wants to go in-house. Find me on LinkedIn. And hopefully I see you at a In-House Connect webinar soon.
Awesome. Well, Shai, it was great to see you again. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us. And check out In-House Connect on LinkedIn and sign up, join, and come to the next event.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for having me and for not holding it against me that I didn't answer your connection request.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a year and a half. Not too bad. Takes longer for most attorneys.
Listen, without any of that, I would have never been here, right?
That's right.
That's true.
I met Chris and Ruben at that IHC holiday party.
Right.
Here's my nephew.
That's right. Where's my thank you?
We got it coming for you right when we sign off. We do.
All right. Thanks,
awesome.
everybody.
All right, guys. We're having a fire alarm right now. The ice cream machine on 27 probably is burning down. That's what's going on.
That's because this podcast is so fire.
Yeah, it is. We're overheating the circuits right now.